I want to talk to John Whitehead. He's a constitutional attorney and the president of the Rutherford Institute, the organization that has defended Brandon Raub. This is John's first TV interview since the judge ordered Brandon's release today. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Very happy about the decision that was rendered today by the judge.
Please explain what I might be missing, because I have to tell you, and maybe you can help me on this. I don't think I've ever heard of this kind of stuff happening in America until recently. Have you?
Well, yeah, it happens. There's about 20,000 civil commitments alone in Virginia each year. So what happened here is Brandon's mother went on Facebook and started yelling about it, and that got people up in arms. But there are a lot of people this happens to, thousands across the United States. Yes, just like I said, his mother got out there on the web and talked about it, and I contacted her. So a veteran called me and said, John, you got to look into this matter. I called and talked to her, and I said, you got to be kidding. It was over Facebook posts? If you know what happened was he was picked up last Thursday by the FBI and the local police. He saw him drive up in front of his house, and he got out, and he was in his shorts. He walked down the front porch and said, what's up, guys? They said, you've been posting some things on Facebook that are very controversial. So while he was talking to him, they surrounded him, put his hand behind his back, handcuffed him. They wouldn't let him put his clothes on, and they put him in a police car. You can watch the YouTube video. His brother's girlfriend took the video of the whole event. Took him to a psychiatric ward. He had a 15-minute examination by a psychologist, and he was committed to a mental institution. We had a hearing Monday, and they posted out all these so-called posts he made, but they were on a private Facebook grouping he had with his brother and his sister, and they were playing a game called Dear Illuminati, where they would say things to each other, and they were song lyrics. I mean, some of them were violent type of song lyrics, but you know, you can go back to the Rolling Stones and Beatles and get violent song lyrics. So happened, and that was the evidence against him.
Okay, so two things. One, how did they have a warrant for his arrest?
No warrant for his arrest and no search warrant. Here was the key, because the police arrived and said, he said, what crime have I committed? They said, sir, you haven't committed a crime, and we're not charging you with a crime. And they haven't, and they're not going to. I've talked to the police and the FBI, and they say he committed no crime. His so-called problem was posting things about revolution.
Well, I got it. But if there is no warrant for an arrest, if there is no warrant for search, I believe there's some place in the Constitution that you can't do anything.
Oh, yeah. The thing is, we're getting ready to file a civil lawsuit. We're talking to the mother and Brandon, because he's been put through hell for a week. In fact, he was threatened today by some psychiatrists at the psychiatric hospital before he was released. But, yeah, under the civil commitment law in Virginia, the police can do this. They can pick you up. And there's civil commitment statutes across the country. Veterans have called me now, veterans organizations, and said, this is happening across the country, John. So I've got all these calls now from veterans saying, this happened to me, will you look into my case? And we're putting them all together. But the point is this is happening across America. This is not anything new. We've been asleep.
I will tell you that I have talked to several military members who are special forces, who have been very concerned because they have seen this as well. They have seen that the military, to get some benefits, et cetera, are saying, yeah, post-traumatic stress syndrome, you just sign this, and that way you can get some benefits for it as they go out. And there are several military people at very high positions feel this is a setup, that the military is being made to look crazy.
And again, like this man here, Brandon Raub, has never been under psychiatric treatment, and he owns no weapon, by the way. So
what did they?
He's a decorated Marine. He's a decorated Marine. Iraq and Afghanistan, 2 tours.
What did they threaten him with today?
Well, he called me from. They moved him 3.5 hours away just a couple of days ago, which kind of freaked everybody out, us too. So we filed a court order to get him back close to Richmond, Virginia, where he has 2 businesses, by the way. He's a businessman. And he said a psychiatrist came in, and I said, what's up? And I said, what did he say to you? And he said, he really scared me. I said, what did he say? He said, the psychiatrist said, I'm going to brainwash you, and I'm going to force you to take meds. And so he got right on the phone. He could call out and call me, and I said, man, they can't do that. They got to have a court order. And in Virginia, you have to have a court order to force you to take medications. But that really scared him. So the message here is that we moved into what I would call a psychotherapeutic state mentality now with these civil commitments. But again, they're happening all across the country. So we better wake up, folks. Because if you say something the government doesn't like, he's a Ron Paul libertarian and a 9/11 truther, and you don't have to agree with any of that.
I agree with you.
We have rights under the First Amendment, as you know.
I know. That's what I said. I don't know if you heard the opening monologue. I don't agree with 9/11 truthers, but I do stand for his right. I will be at your side the whole time. This is wrong.
Yeah, because we're getting ready to sue the government over this. They put him through hell.
All right, let me switch gears because I've never heard of your institution. Is the Rutherford Institute?
Yeah.
What is the Rutherford
We're a civil liberties organization. We handle cases that probably nobody else will. We have hundreds of cases going on across the United States, from all about the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. We just were in a big controversial case in Phoenix, Arizona, where a pastor was put in jail for having a Bible study. And
right.
We do all kinds of cases.
There's also another one out of Phoenix, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, and I think you guys are representing this woman. She was giving water out in Phoenix. Is that you guys?
Yeah, Christian Festival, yeah. She was giving free bottled water. It was 112 degrees. So a neighborhood preservation officer walked up to her under their zoning laws and said, "You're violating the law. You have to have a permit, or we're going to fine you and take the water away." Well, she didn't know what to do. She called us. So we looked at the law. The law actually says you have to be putting things up for sale. So we've asked the city of Phoenix for an apology, but I don't think we're going to get it. We'll probably have to sue them as well. But she was handing out free water at a Christian festival.
Okay. Let me ask you just one last question, because you said, several times now, this is happening all over the country.
And the veterans, I think. I think they're being targeted.
Yeah, I think so too. Look at the Homeland Security memos.
The extremism memos mentioned veterans. Yeah, that was really frightening. Yes.
Okay, so you're not seeing this same kind of activity for the left, are you? I mean, the Occupy Wall Street, they're saying it on national television, and nobody's scooping them up and putting them up in mental institutions.
I don't know, because what happens is people disappear. As I said, this mother got on Facebook and started yelling about it. I had veterans call me and say, "Look into this," but I'm getting calls from everybody now. Again, we have to really understand what's happening. This is happening all across America, and I think veterans are being targeted. But anybody that the government perceives as a threat can be arrested and put in a mental institution now.
Okay. The next one is this, was this going on under the Bush administration widespread like this? Is this a new?
No, it's been going on for years. Like I say, 20,000 people alone in Virginia. Civil commitments. That's what they call them. The police arrive, they arrest you, they don't charge you with a crime, they take you to a mental institution. We're looking at...
But wait. For political statements?
Political statements, yes. And other things, of course, but the ones we're hearing about are for political statement, yes. So what the message is being sent, especially by the FBI, is if you are a 9/11 truther, that's what I'm hearing mainly. If you're a 9/11 truther, you're going to get investigated. For some reason, the government does not like that. Again, as you know, First Amendment guarantees the freedom of speech.
Yes.
You don't have to agree with it. I don't agree with a lot of things I hear, but like I tell people, the same thing you said, I'll stand with you as long as you're not violent. You have a right to say it, and we'll stand with you.
Yeah, I mean, look, the only way things are ever going to be, because honestly, when it comes to the 9/11 Commission, that whole thing was fishy. But I don't think, there's just no way the government was involved in blowing up, World Trade Center. It just didn't. That's my opinion.
Not a truther either. But
right. But I mean, if that's what you believe, you have a right, and I believe a responsibility to say those things in a non-violent way.
James Madison, who wrote the First Amendment, said, and this is a quote, he said, the First Amendment was written to protect the minority against the majority. He wasn't talking about racial minorities. He was talking about people who say things that we think are crazy.
The only kind of speech.
That's what it protects.
Nobody needs to protect speech that everybody likes.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Madison was pointing out. And he was saying, if you're going to find people you don't like, I defend people all the time that I disagree with vehemently. But it's free speech, folks.
All right, so how can, because this is the this is day number, 3 for me on this, paying attention to this. Where do people even go to find out more information about what you claim is happening in the country?
You go to Rutherford.org. I write on it all the time. In fact, I write for Lou Walkwell. I write for the Huffington Post. We post the same articles on our website. You can read. I write on what's happening across the country. The thing is that the government is going on our websites. They're going on Facebook and are reading what we're doing, even in so-called private conversations. So we're moving into a surveillance state. We have to be very careful. And I tell my friends, I get text messages from my friends sometimes, and I'll text back and say, don't say that. Like the movie Bomb, not a good idea, because that goes into an electronic file, key words. So you got to really be careful. And let me say this, we shouldn't have to do that in America. No. Is this America? That's a question I keep asking.
All right. Thank you so much, and I'm glad that there is progress on this case, and we'll stay in touch with you, John. And Rutherford.org
and find more about what we're doing and read the articles. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, John.
Sure.
The world is a very dangerous place because many will try to deceive you. Many will think they're right and they are not. Many will take things that are innocent and turn them into something nefarious. I want to make it very clear that from what I know of this story, this is an outrage. He kind of threw a lot of chips down on the table here. And there were some things that stick out to me as flares of caution. But the one thing we should be reckless with is our defense of people who have